What's up, gang? How we doing today? I just wanted to hop back on. I did a video last night on Instagram, but they don't let you save them, so I don't get to repost them. So here I am on Facebook talking about the same stuff. But what we were talking about is a topic we always bring up around here, that consistency is the key. Breaking that down, why is consistency such a necessity when it comes to a lot of your fitness goals? So I kind of took what I would consider like a peak mover, right? Like somebody that's at the peak of being able to move efficiently, high level performance wise. And I take that and I break it down into like 6 phases basically. So if you were, like a professional athlete, let's say, the 6 kind of processes that it takes to get there. So starting off simple and kind of working our way through, how would you get to that point? So I'm going to go through them really, really quick, and I'll explain why here in a second. But step 1 for me is core bracing, taking care of your spine, and being able to brace that part of your body so that then you can create function off of that. So core bracing, number 1, major joint mobility being number 2. So the ability to move at your hips and your shoulders, and your knees, of course. And then number 3 being major joint stability. Okay. So being able to stabilize those same joints. Okay. And then that allows you to get into phase 4, which would be dynamic movement. So now we're talking about a little bit more coordinated, a little more complex, and a little bit maybe faster speeds. And then we're working into phase 5, which would be high intensity dynamic movement. So taking your dynamic movements and adding a level of intensity, whether it's load or speed. Okay. And then number 6, which can kind of be interchangeable with number 5, but long duration dynamic movement. So increasing your endurance, your ability to do those things repetitively over and over and over and over again. Okay. So we got our 6 stages. Okay. Now, if I were to ask, a new client or a new person coming in, what is your overall goal? They wouldn't say one of those things. They wouldn't probably say high intensity dynamic movement is my goal. The goals I get the most have to do with either burning fat, building muscle, or addressing some kind of health concern. Okay. So what happens, and the reason why consistency is such a key, and the reason why people fall off the bandwagon too early without achieving those goals, is because those goals would fall pretty far down that list. So if your goal is to burn fat or build muscle, you're looking at, stages 5 or 6 in order to create those things. So most people want to just jump straight to those. So if you jump in at 5 or 6 to try to, immediately burn fat and build muscle, then you're setting yourself up for long-term failure in terms of overworking something that you're not prepared for, creating some kind of dangerous situation where you could injure yourself, or you might fail because you don't have, the proper foundation set up to achieve those things. So a lot of people don't want to put in the time it takes to master core bracing and joint mobility and creating stability in their body, which then, allows you to have those dynamic movements flow easier. Once those 4 things are in place, then it's easy to take that next step and add some demand to it, whether it's duration of time, intensity of load, or the speed of the movement. Then you're ready to add those things on. So consistency is key because you have to layer those 4 things down, and they take a lot of time. Okay. So the worst thing you can do is give yourself a goal in a short window of time that puts you way down that list at 5 or 6. Like I am going on my honeymoon in 6 months, so I need to look good for that. Or I'm getting married in 6 months, I need to look good for that. Or I have family pictures coming up, or those things that, we want to look good for, but they're in a very short window to get ready for. that just puts us in a place where we're probably going to create a cycle of good and failure, good and failure, good and failure, and having to start over and over again, which after a while gets so old that you just never, you think those things are unattainable. So the best thing you can do for yourself right now is to just get started, lay the groundwork. And so intensity wise, they're the easiest things to do, but complexity wise, they might be some of the harder things to do, just because they're things that you aren't used to doing with your body. So mastering the brain connection to your body and how it functions, it can take some time. So, it might be boring. It might not be exciting. It might not be something that you want to post on your Facebook page. It doesn't make you look good immediately, right? And it can be repetitive. So those things can kind of be turnoffs in order, in terms of getting started. So don't wait, lay the groundwork, and then, you'll be prepared to jump into something more intense later, but if you don't start, then you're just behind the 8 ball and you're going to force yourself into a tight window. So, that's my advice, is get started with the simpler, groundwork things, and get those in place. And then, you'll be ready when it comes time to, I want to run this race with my friends. I need to start training for that specifically. Well, it's a good thing I've already had 2 years of laying down the groundwork of, bracing my core, creating mobility, creating stability, and then learning some dynamic movement. Now I'm a supple leopard, right? I can move into those things quickly and easily because I've set up a framework to do that. So, that's why I enjoy the idea of setting up protocols. It's something that I need to do more of is, here's the outline, here's the steps to follow to get to this. So it's almost, fail proof, where if I do these things, this will happen. And if it doesn't, let's find out why. Where did I miss something along the line? Okay. So yeah, just an idea I wanted to address, how to get started and how to get going so that you can do the things that you want long term. But like we always say, the little things make the big things happen. So you got to start with those and you got to get them done. You got to go right now and do it. So put in that work, and then you might graduate to something else, So like if what I'm doing with you at my gym is something that at first is challenging, and you graduate from that and are ready to progress on to some other more intense form of something, you want to join the fight club, you want to do a marathon running team, or you want to, go to like a CrossFit gym and compete. Awesome. I think that's great. I want to help you get to those points. I want to be foundational and groundwork based, so then you can go on and do those other things. And, I want to be able to train you in those other things too, but I just think a lot of coaches are skipping a lot to get to those shiny, fun toys, that people are really, really attracted to, looking a certain way, performing some, impressive visual, right? But you got to do the boring stuff first and kind of set yourself up for that. So yeah, just wanted to talk about that today. I would love to have a discussion about this. So, share your ideas, comment and repost and kind of let's get a discussion started on what you think about those ideas. And yeah, it's fun. It's fun for me. Hopefully I'll learn something new from y'all. Okay. So think about that on this lovely Wednesday. Have a great, awesome day and keep moving.